Is there any way you want to be intro, Joe?
I'm good. You do you, man. It's not like you can miss the T out of my surname when you're introducing me.
No one knows. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Third Wheel. I'm one of your hosts, Hamish.
And I'm your other host, Aaron.
And today we're joined by an old friend of ours, Joe. Met him at uni. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it there. I'm Joe, met him at uni, and here I am 3-4 years down the line.
Yeah, computer science. We're having a few computer scientists on recently, actually.
We're scraping the bottom of the barrel, Aaron. Is that what
I was going to say, the minute I was invited on, I knew
like
it's gone downhill for you all.
You made it sound so much.
No. What do you mean? We had Alex on. That was a good episode. Actually, when I say we've had a few computer scientists on recently, we haven't really, have we? There's only Alex.
Yeah.
Unless I'm missing someone else. But yeah, cool. Do you remember the first time we met?
It was an excellent question.
I remember the first time, like, seeing or knowing about Joe.
What does that mean?
As in, like, I remember you always did really well in the CS132 Matt Leaks tests or quizzes or whatever.
Yeah, the hardware. Yeah.
Like in the lecture, the quiz he did like in the lecture or test. I can't remember what it was exactly. But we had a few and I feel like Joe always did like finish first or something or got most correct.
See, that was just a bad character trait on my part of... You know, you've just kicked off uni, like, okay, let's make an impression on these kids.
Yeah, exactly. I was always like, I remember like sitting like middle of the lecture or something. And I think, I don't know, so he might have, I don't know how it happened. He marked it and he said, oh, Joe got the highest or whatever. And you were like right at the back and put your hand up. And I was like, oh, fuck's sake, dickhead. I
don't blame you. Yeah, that was it. It turns out what was trying to be impress people just made me many, many enemies through the years. But it was all downhill after that anyway, so I peaked pretty much first week of year one in terms of performance.
Was it that early as well? It did feel early, but I can't...
It wasn't that early.
It seems weird that we... Yeah, week one might have been an exaggeration, but...
Yeah, week 2 or 3.
Yeah, it seemed weird that we had a test so quick or something.
The only reason it happened, or that I was able to finish it as quickly, is it was covering early topics that I'd already looked at A-level.
Right.
So,
my memory of Joe, so I know we met sometime in first time, yeah, but so my memory of Joe was like, he was the second person like I had at the time in first year drunk with, yeah. So like this was the end of second time after all, you know, the all-nighters, the 4 all-nighters. I remember coming to his flat, they invited me over to their flat in Heronbank, so I went over. I was naive enough to think like I had a bit of like JD and Pepsi and a bit of Lucozade. And I went over there, fam. These lot would just drink, like Joe Bellott. When I say he has a liver of pure steel or it doesn't exist, that is what it was, because I went there, I was like, oh, I couldn't move. I was like sat down, like if I go get up here, I'm dead, because they kept just pouring drinks here. And so my Lucozade, but at the end of it, there was no Lucozade in the bottle. Yeah, there was just some alcoholic beverage at the time. Yeah, and I was like, shit, I am fucked up beyond belief. And then I just remember everyone standing on the table hitting the ceiling, singing some song that I didn't know.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, we used to just punch the ceiling for some reason.
What was the song? I bet it's a really obvious song. And he was just like...
Yeah, I wasn't a good example, was I? that is my memory of it.
It's going to annoy me, yeah.
Did you say JD and Lucozade? Is that
No, I had JD and Pepsi, and then I had something in Lucozade as the other mixer. And then it somehow they just kept pouring Smirnoff into it.
Like the fizzy Lucozade?
Yeah, the fizzy the orange one. What happened was, Aaron, I woke up at like 4 p.m. that afternoon. I had a bit of food and then chilled a bit, and then it was time to go for the party. And they started at like 7 for some reason.
Can you imagine? You're in your first year of uni, you get invited to a party, and what do you see? A bunch of adults punching the ceiling, having the time of their lives.
I was like, these guys party different out here. I don't know the music.
Grim.
I thought like I would listen to like violent music, but here I am, the least violent in the room.
Well, that's the thing though. People started taking it as a badge of honor if they left a blood stain on our ceiling. It was grim.
I remember the flat above you said didn't like you guys.
It was none of them. None of them in the area did. I don't know why we thought it was okay. I think we really fed into each other's energies in first year.
I didn't have this issue because I lived on the other side of your thing. I lived on apparently what was deemed as the quiet side.
It was just the quiet side because we weren't there.
Yeah. You know what I remember? I remember that Joe Bellott's flat was one of the flats that caused the fire alarm, and I just knew this. Yeah, no one else knew this in the area whilst you're standing out there. It was really late at night as well.
No,
I think it was
I can't remember. I think we had 2 fire alarms out of our flat.
I knew of one of them, but I didn't know the other one.
It might have just been one, but I just remember the scene of going into the kitchen filled with smoke. And one of my flatmates was desperately trying to stop the smoke alarm from going off by holding the vacuum cleaner, having it on and trying to vacuum up smoke.
Vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
So the smoke would surely go back out the end.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what he was thinking, to be honest. I think he was just panicking.
I just remember then, because then that made it actually funnier. Yeah, okay, so if you know who caused the fire alarm and for the reason, they said they burnt eggs or something. Yeah, so I just started laughing in the middle of that. Yeah, like we're fucking out here at like some silly time at night. Yeah, it was literally like icy and raining, and I just look over at Joe Bellott's flat. I'm like, for fuck's sake.
It's them. Yeah, that was wild. I can't recall any early interactions, I guess, apart from obviously Hamish getting blasted at my flat.
Yeah, honestly, Joe Bellott, you humbled me. You were like the second person to humble me. KV was the first in the first week.
Was it because of how tall he was?
No. As in terms of how much you could drink at the time. So he humbled me first. He humbled me in the first week as well. Yeah. Then you humbled me at the end of second term, and then I was like, you know what? Yeah, there's no need for this competition out here.
But did you come to uni, Hamish, as like a big drinker?
No, I hadn't really done that much, but like I thought I could just take it in it. I thought it seemed like compared to everyone else, I always had more composure in it. So the people I did like go out on a night with in first year, I was like, I always seem to have more composure. So I was like, you know, I must be a heavyweight.
It's strange. I think it's just my build that lets me drink as much as I do, because I didn't drink masses and masses pre-uni, but then my flat was just a different breed for some reason.
Yeah, the week before that, absolutely hammered of a night. I remember we all went into DCS. We were in lab 6. We knew the all-nighters were coming, yeah, and we all went in. I think there was a few of us that had come in from separate places, drunk already, and we were just writing code, yeah. And I think, for me at least, yeah, that was a turning point, because that turned my 126. So we had this module, which wasn't easy. It was data structures and so on, yeah. So that made my work that night, not doing it sober.
Nah, it does help.
I never did that again, but I do recommend it in first year.
Me and KV in fourth year, I think it was, or was it third year? It was dissertation season, and we did a night of wine and work, where we went to the local Tesco, got a bottle of wine each, and then just sat in the back corner of one of the labs, sipping our bottles and trying to pump out our dissertations.
Did that go well?
I honestly don't know, which probably means no, it didn't.
In third year and fourth year, I remember you both came back from pop a couple of times on late night. Yeah, I was leaving a DCS, and you lot came. You did pop here because of your social sector and so on. Yeah. And then you finished your work after, whereas I just finished my work and I was leaving. I'm like, can't believe I'm witnessing that. And these lot are about to go in for all.
No, I just don't know what we were thinking though, because the work would have been awful, right? We're not doing good work in that state of mind. We just feel like obligated because we're drunk. Right? Okay, we're awake. We've had all this sugar. Let's do something with this energy. And then all we did was make more work for ourselves.
Shout out KV, by the way.
Yeah. Top boy.
It seems like so long ago when we recorded that episode now.
It was one of your first, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was like early doors.
Yeah, episode 3. We actually went to Lem to record that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, had a cheeky Millennium Bolty afterwards.
Oh, don't. You're breaking my heart. I miss that place.
Bossman wasn't there though.
It's not ideal. What's the point? Bossman is the boy.
Yeah. They're all bossmen now.
True.
Yeah, as uni went on, I guess it's a shame because I feel like as the years went on, we kind of started to do more as like a computer science group, I think. Like started doing like some Casbah nights, the comp sci does pop and stuff like that. Where like if we started that a bit earlier, it might have been, could have had a lot more fun.
That would have been a good idea. Yeah.
Comp sci does Casbah, it must be iconic. Like that must be an iconic night. That's one of the nights where I'm like, I see so many comp sci people like Casbah at the same time. I'm like, we broken all stereotypes here because I'm pretty sure no one was like not many of us at least were the standard, stereotypical comp sci. But to see that many comp sci, that people that you only see in DCS or Electra or something,
yeah, that's true.
A night out,
it was always good to see like the unexpected characters coming along and just like, having a good time with everyone. It was good. But I completely agree. Started out way too late.
For those who are unfamiliar with the Warwick scene, Casbah is just a nightclub.
It's in Coventry.
Yeah, in Coventry. And when we say pop as well, that's also a night, like a university night on campus, where it's, as just the title suggests, a lot of pop songs. But you have like a bit of circling beforehand. I don't know if you've talking about that before. You talk about in Josh's episode, maybe?
It's so long ago, you might as well go over it again. It doesn't hurt anyone.
Well, Joe, would you care to explain what circling is?
I would love to explain what circling is.
Can I just say, you little shit, I didn't forget that Compsiders pop night where you lot just started picking on me, you and Joe, and you and Josh, sorry.
Yeah, well, because, so I'll explain circling and then how it sort of links back into the comp sci nights. It's circling at Warwick, typically before this event called Pop, but also other club nights occur sporadically, but we'll stick with Pop. You can rock up maybe 3 hours before the event starts as part of a society or a group of people that's registered to go circling. You get booze at a reduced rate, slightly reduced rate, but it's very alluring. And there are people that are either social sects of universities, of societies rather, that will lead games for a circle of people. And these games are based on, or essentially predicated on the circle. So it will be rules that rotate around the circle. If you fail the game, then you drink. Or the favorite variant is you stand up. When about half the circle is standing up, they down a pint, which I think is what we employed for the comp sci ones.
Yeah, just get as many people to drink as possible.
Exactly. And as we started getting more and more social in computer science, myself and KV started being the social sec in that situation for a circle of computer scientists. And Hamish was the victim one day.
It was like one of the few, because I didn't go pop yet. So like if I came to the comp sci does pop out of like the comp sci culture, like.
It's because you came to the last one. So it was like, and that was the only one you went to. So,
I actually dressed up for it as well. Like I even got Baxo like a matching clown outfit, and we came as clowns. And then what do you call it? I remember, like I turned right to Baxo. Yeah, Baxo. By this point, we're hammered, yeah. And Baxo was like, "I'm about to be sick," and then you guys look over at me and like, "You have to drink." Well, what's that, Baxo? You have to drink as well. So he starts chugging another pint down. Yeah, I'm like, Baxo, you said you're about to throw up. Yeah, and you're drinking another fucking pint. I was like, just refusing, but you guys weren't having it. Yeah. And Aaron sat to my left laughing at me. I'm like, I think it was TK and Aaron was sat to my left. They're like, "Oh, this guy's fucked." Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, you little prick."
We were fine. If people didn't want to drink, we never made them drink. And I want to get that one out there and on the record.
It wasn't like that kind of forcibly, It was like the group joking. I don't know how to explain it about pop here. There's that like kind of provoking.
It's like a different energy.
I was like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, you just gently goad people. Be like, you sure you don't? You sure you don't want to drink? Yeah, okay, fine.
The thing is, I didn't know half the games and I couldn't hear half the shit because it was so loud, yeah. So you couldn't hear half the rules. So next thing you know, yeah, when it comes to you, you don't know what it is, and then you have to bloody drink anyways. I'm just like, what's the point?
The issue with that is the comp sci social events got too big.
Yeah, comp sci just wild. Comp sci people
didn't
wild,
expect it at all. We had to move from inside the club venue to the atrium of our students' union.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
to facilitate just how many people were in this circle.
Wait, was that the one you went to, Hamish? The one?
No, I went to the last one, but I remember us just saying we had a massive. We just had the entire section in front of that bar in one of the rooms.
Yeah. But so the one before that, I think we actually had to move to, as Joe said, the atrium because there wasn't enough room for us. And that was the, I think that was the Hawaiian one. You came to the Greatest Showman one, I think.
Yeah. I remember Josh KV's £5 Amazon outfit. It was just ragged.
Hang on. I'm not going to tell you how much it was, but it wasn't a $5.
No, but wait. It must have been £20 max. There's no way you paid more than £20 for that.
All I know is after that night, it was covered in purple liquid.
Oh, purple. Did you ever have purple, Hamish?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did too.
Yeah, I definitely did.
Yeah, right.
But I didn't like it, if that makes sense. Like I could consume a bit of it, but I couldn't down. You lot just drank it like it was the best thing ever. You lot drank it like it was.
Yeah, we drank it like it was purple.
Ew. No.
I wouldn't say it's the worst tasting alcoholic drink.
I just don't think that kind of drink would have worked for me even back then when I drank. So like I was more of the spirits type of person.
Purple is pretty much a snake bite, right? Depending on where you're from, it's like snake bite with blackcurrant cordial.
What goes into it?
Snake bite's just equal parts beer and cider or lager cider.
Oh, I thought it was just Ribena and cider or something.
No. It's Ribena. At Warwick, it's Ribena. I believe it was like Somersby cider and Carling.
I see.
Did you ever have Eliminator as well, Hamish?
Yeah.
That stuff was nasty.
What was the place called? Kelsey's.
We were actually there with Joe Bellott once. I don't know. We just ran into him at Kelsey's one time. I just recall this memory
at some point.
And we had Eliminator jugs. Like I think it was nearly one per person for some reason on the table. I don't know why.
Because we made poor decisions.
It's actually funny how often I feel like I ran into, like, would go into a night out, like in a club or even just like a bar, like Kelsey or something, and just run into someone else from computer science, considering how, like, stereotypically we are probably considered very unsocial.
Yeah.
Also, for anyone not from Warwick listening, you're just hearing us reminiscing again. I don't know what else there is.
Oh, there was one night, didn't me and KV help you home, Aaron?
Me?
Yeah. I think, I can't remember what night it was. It might have
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I'm
one of the, it was like Bollywood night things in, I can't remember the name of
Neon.
the club. Neon, possibly.
okay. I remember going there with you guys.
It might not have been you. I remember that we helped someone home from that event once, and
Aaron's usually okay after those kind of nights.
yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. It could have been me, but so to be fair, I can't remember leaving that event. But that could also just be because it's been a few years. So,
Yeah. Well, exactly. I can't
don't know.
remember it, but
Let's go with me though, because it makes it funnier for the
oh,
story.
definitely.
So Aaron, there was this time we were with them in Kelsey's, yeah, and you needed to go take a shit. So you told me to, because the Kelsey's door didn't lock. Yeah, you told me to just
Kelsey's is
stand outside. Yeah, you told me to just stand outside, make sure no one goes in. So I had to tell like 2 people not to go in. I'm just stood outside there in the toilet because the toilet's a fucking grim place. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Aaron, I'm just like, I don't know how this has become.
I think after that, I just like, I remember going to TJ's a few times to like, if I need to go to the toilet rather than go
Is that
Kelsey's.
the sports bar?
Yeah, sports
Over the
bar
road.
and grill.
Yeah.
Grill.
And Kelsey's was just awful. I remember walking through that and you just stick to the floor. It was the same with Pop, to be fair. But
Yeah, you know what everyone kept telling me? I remember about Kelsey. Everyone kept telling me it was grimy. I'm like, bro, they play grime at Kelsey. I go to Kelsey's and they're not playing grime. I'm like, what do you mean it's grimy? Yeah, this ain't fucking grimy. Yeah, they're like, no, the floor's sticky. That's grimy. I'm like, nah, you lot are taking the piss here. Someone told me that there's grime music playing.
Oh, what a letdown for you.
You have no idea.
That's two episodes in a row where we've spent a lot of time just talking about alcohol for some reason at the beginning.
I feel like it's very thematic with me.
Yeah.
It just had to happen.
Same question I asked him. What's your favorite go-to drink? Has it changed?
Really good question. Yeah. At uni, it was all about cheap, right? It was welcome to bus stop hours. Bus stop was a time where we would get reduced prices on drinks at the Warwick Terrace Bar, and it would just be whatever was on that deal. Whereas now it's depends on the purpose of drinking, which probably sounds like a bad thing to say. Say, am I drinking to get
Fuji?
Let's say you're going for like a chilled evening at the pub with like a few mates.
Ooh, probably from the locals around me, it's either Camden Hells or Peroni. Usually always a pint if I'm with mates.
Yeah. What about pre-drinks?
Pre-drinks.
Yeah.
Cheapest cans I can find. High volume on them. Which is why we always did Carling back in the day. It got you to where you wanted to go.
Yeah. And then when you're in the club, maybe like a shot. What's your go-to shot?
Shot would always be Sambuca.
Yeah, that's what I said. Sambuca.
Sambuca is wonderful stuff. If anyone ever hands me a Jaeger bomb, I die inside.
I'd rather do a Jaeger bomb than a Sambuca. I remember at any club, anyone, no, I was like, I'd rather get the Jaeger bomb. Because I think they were all basically, I think the shots were £1, but the Jaeger bombs were £1.50, and I'd rather do the Jaeger bomb any day of the week than do that shit.
I wish, I don't know Joe if Joe will get this reference, but Hamish, I wish we are in a situation now where I could play the Sambuca
alarm.
Yeah, the Sambuca alarm.
I'm surprised that these lot don't have their own Sambuca alarm. You know that, Aaron? When I watched that pub go footage, I'm like, yo, if KV and Joe Bellott had a Sambuca alarm or something like that, it would have been ropes. It would have been even ropier nights.
I'll be honest, we probably had something like that before. I remember for our final exams, me and KV dragged our desks from our rooms to the living room of our place. And it just ended up being like revision HQ, but it was just, let's just day drink.
I remember you having like the Chunder chart as well in that place.
Chunder chart. Do we have one in third year still? Wow.
It was third year or fourth year. There's one of those.
Oh yeah, fourth year. You're right. Yeah. We carried on our year one. Yeah, it's a throwback to first year Chunder charts.
Man. Yeah. On I guess more serious note, university, general, Warwick, computer science, all that stuff. How'd you find it?
I felt quite assured going into uni that I knew what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. So course-wise and what I got from the course was fairly expected. I think all in all, I had a great time. I met some great people and had a lot of fun. One of my big things about university was I'm there for the education, of course, but I'm also not going to be a shut-in that like devotes their life to making sure I come out of it with a solid top-tier grade.
Yeah.
I think the only possible downside of Warwick for that goal was how remote it was. You're not some city campus with immediate access to everything. You're in your own little link-to-sell community.
Yeah. So what, did you not like that aspect of it?
It had its benefits, I guess. It did make you fairly close with your course mates and like who you was living with, but it did restrict that circle. And it did restrict the activities you could easily do, which my bank account probably loved. Because if I was going out drinking, odds on it was just in someone's flat and we were watching a terrible movie afterward. Which, yeah, it's great. But I suppose I would just wonder what the flip side of that is, of what is it to be a student in a city.
It could be also harder to be social as a student in the city, though. Like equivalently, you know what I mean? Like for example, for me, I feel like I needed the bubble to at least learn how to socialize to start with, and make it less people ideally. Like, because if you were right in the, say we were in like dead central London, there'd have been just so many people, and then it would have just got tougher and tougher. The ease of access would have been nice, I won't lie, but I feel like as a Londoner, you're spoiled for that, so you need to learn a little bit that you can't have everything 2 minutes away from you.
Yeah, that's very true.
I do wonder at London unis if they have if they do have bubbles somehow, like in a way.
I suppose you must, right? Because you're still seeing the same uni kids and you're going to similar events to everyone.
Yeah.
From my school, like a couple of us went to Warwick and no Londoners.
For me, the reason was also because I didn't want to be back home, and I couldn't go back home in that state that I would be after a night out. So it was better. And it's not like I did plan out any nights or anything really in London at that time as well. I was all about staying at Warwick, staying there until it's all over.
Until it's all over. That sounds so much more sinister than you probably meant for it.
Wait, that was sinister? I thought that was sounding a bit more sad.
Possibly.
Yeah, either way.
Yeah, because basically I love Warwick, just having my own space. So I was like, I don't want to leave, I just want to be here forever.
That's fair. Where are you in like your own place now, or?
No, I'm at the parents' house.
Okay.
Where are you then, Joe? Where are you now?
I'm outskirts of London, basically. I'm in Zone 6.
Oh, same. So, but I say inside London.
I know. If I say I'm inside London to anyone that's not in Zone 4, 5, or 6, they'll just roast me to the bitter end. So I'm like, okay, I'll just say I'm outskirts. That's fine.
Yeah, but we got to stick together, man.
All right, I'll change it after this. Just for you.
Yeah, what have you been up to since uni then?
Okay, I'll try and keep it somewhat brief. I think I can pretty much keep it brief. But initial departure from uni led me into academia. So I was planning for sort of a PhD that would have been around tech X supply chains, pretty much. So through my third and fourth year of uni, I was part-timing at a different university, University of Northampton, at what's called their LIST Institute, which is their institution for logistics, infrastructure, supply and transport. So it was all supply chainy stuff. I was just doing data analysis for them. And then on graduation, they offered me a full-time research assistant role. So I started doing sort of overseeing their contribution to various consortiums they were working in on, I think they were Horizon 2020 funded projects at the time. So it was all from that Euro pool of funding for research, and the consortiums were collaborations across EU nations. Mm-hmm. So it was quite good for traveling around, to be honest, because everyone was like, I want to host the next consortium meeting. Then my boss would say, Joe, you're going to Belgium. I'm like, all right, cracking.
Oh, nice.
Joe, you're off to Poland. Have fun. So traveling around Europe somewhat, it wasn't frequent, but it was frequent enough that I'd consider it a perk of the job. But it just reached this point where you aren't really doing research, or it felt to me at least like I wasn't really pushing the boundary of things. I was just navigating hoops and jumping through them and trying just to keep stakeholders happy. And I think that's when my view of academia for me personally shifted of, well, wherever the money's coming from, That's the hoop you're trying to jump through. And it basically came to a head with one of the projects where I was running essentially a profit loss or opportunity cost analysis on something. And it boiled down to this just isn't going to do what you think it's going to do. And it's not going to penetrate the markets you think it's going to penetrate. And I had to stand up in front of this room of 50 odd people and say, everything you've been working towards for these last 2 years, from what I can see, it ain't happening.
Okay.
Believe it or not, it wasn't met with rapturous applause, and it was very quickly brushed away. Because at the end of the day, it's not. I guess it's not their money they're spending.
Mm-hmm.
It's just funding money that there is a risk associated with it. But that was a point where for me, I was like, okay, I kind of want to go industry now, because I don't like that almost blasé attitude to research and funding.
I was going to ask, I thought you were doing a PhD and you were going to go to Canada or something for a year.
Yeah, I remember Canada being something that rings a bell.
Yeah, so one of the trips through the List Institute was to Canada. We met a company there that was doing ride-sharing initiatives. So part of the T, right? The T of List is transport. So it was essentially looking at initiatives to A, reduce congestion, and B, just streamline general traffic. And one of the options that we were looking into was ride sharing. So this company in Canada was working with a university in Miami. So the PhD would have been sort of year out to Miami, but with links to Canada and I think some in New York. It was honestly quite a web. Like, it's still looking back on it, it's not exactly clear what it would have been because I didn't stick around. But yeah, I think that was also a bit of a red flag in that I didn't exactly know what it meant. So therefore, can I actually trust this is going to be something that does go ahead? Is this a promise, or is this something that's just a carrot on a stick?
Yeah, that whole experience, did you learn quite a lot from it?
Yeah, for sure. It was valuable, right? As a fresh grad or someone who hadn't even technically graduated at that point, to be going and talking to 50 some professionals and presenting to them about X, Y, and Z, it almost invaluable for that public speaking side of things, and just realizing I was always fairly intimidated by that concept. But when you're essentially thrown into the lion's den, you're going to be grilled by someone about whatever it is you're presenting. You just sort of accept it as this is a fact of the situation I'm in, and I'm going to deliver and see what happens.
Yeah. Also, you mentioned there how you're part-time working during, was it the final 2 years of university?
Yeah.
How did you find that, managing all of that stuff, like the university course and work?
Yeah, so work was either remote based, but I would go into the office once a week. So I think a fair few universities have this sort of Wednesday afternoon is reserved for sporting activities.
Sport, yeah.
So I would always leverage my Wednesdays as I will be there. I will come to the office on a Wednesday. And that was pretty much all it needed. It was sort of touch base, have a couple of one-on-ones with people, be like, hey, what do you need? What are we doing? What am I looking at? And then maybe a couple hours, a couple of nights a week was all it would actually need to sort of fulfill my quota.
Yeah.
And they were very appreciative and understanding of the fact that I was at uni. So I wasn't put under any undue pressure because of that.
Yeah. Also, the term academia, what exactly does that mean?
That's an excellent question, Aaron. I'm not sure I can answer it to the fullest.
Is it just like research and
that's how I've
studying?
taken it. I'd say that it's just the output of universities that aren't sort of directly involved in industry. Academia can lead into industry. I think we had plenty of professors that served as a good example to that, where they'd start something or be researching something and suddenly they're now consulting about it, or they're making company, like a new company from what they've been researching.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's just sort of either a precursor to industry or the umbrella term for looking into things.
Yeah. After that, you said you realized then that you kind of wanted to go into industry. So is that what you're doing now?
Yeah. So for the last year and a half, possibly 2 years nearly, I've been working sort of nearby. It was why I came to sunny Zone 6, was the office was in Zone 4, and this is where I could afford a 1-bed flat to rent. Okay. But I've been working in essentially like the cross section of finance, software development, and consultancy. So we consult for banks and then implement solutions to their problems.
I was gonna say like a totally different. When you said Sunny Zone 6, I was like, so many people were out today. There's a bit of sun out.
Oh yeah.
No idea what the restrictions are at the minute. Do you guys find that there are a lot of school kid aged kids that are just in friend clusters? And every time I see them, I'm like, can they do that?
Yeah,
Should they be doing that? Why am I so jealous of these kids?
I think like they're slightly more exempt because they're still going. Their social was probably the same thing that they're going to school with. Because some of them still go to school. There's certain years that still go, and
Oh, and yeah, essential workers, right? Their
yeah,
kids
and
are-
then those ones, yeah. So like, but I always try to stay away from them anyways because I don't want to catch COVID because I walk past them.
carriers.
Yeah,
Like the plague rats of today.
it's literally what it is, though, isn't it? Like, I want them to get educated, but I can't be like anywhere near anybody, especially like school kids, like because they're likely to have it most and not know and not fully understand, the restrictions, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just see them, riding their BMXs like just down the
Oh,
street.
I've noticed that recently around here. And then they have some speakers in their backpack just blasting stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they think they're so cool, but wait until they grow up and realize they're not.
Oh man. Yeah, I probably was. No, I don't think I was one of those kids, but I was definitely like,
You gotta just do it back then.
yeah, but that was normal for me. That was like normal size. Some really bad. I remember. I know because I kind of wanted to be that kid. Do you know, like I wasn't cool enough to be that kid, but I kind of wanted to.
Yeah, I get that.
So like I got a Just Do It bag, had a man bag.
Nice. I think that's why I've transitioned into such the cynic I am today. I could never achieve that level, so now I just hate everyone that exudes that energy.
Yeah. I remember going to Lakeside, which is like the shopping center, like near me, like in my Lonsdale tracksuit bottoms, Lonsdale
Ooh.
tracksuit top, man bag. You know those glasses that were in style for a while, where it was like they weren't glasses; they were the things you put over your eyes, and they have like lines over the. It's
The deal with
plastic.
it kind of ones, or the Kanye West
Oh.
ones.
It was just like this
Maybe?
sort of like checkerboard pattern, essentially. but
Yeah. Like they did nothing. Like they weren't like.
They just obscured your vision.
Yeah.
But damn, did you look sick doing it?
Yeah. And then you go into the Apple store and then like go on photo booth and like take all these like selfies and put them on Facebook. Yeah,
This is a world apart from anything I ever even considered happening, Aaron.
Oh,
I'm learning so much about you.
did this? Oh no, but this is like, yeah, none of us were cool. We weren't like, yeah. I look. I
Because
think
the cool kids weren't going into the Apple store and taking pictures of themselves in their terrible glasses.
yeah. Or like in the Primark mirrors. Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember there being there were photos of it on Facebook, but I think I've like deleted them. Yeah, I have. Thing is though, I did want to find them just for like bants, but I honestly have no idea where they are. Those photos. Actually, okay, there's one.
You can share screen on Zoom.
That's one. I'm in the corner here.
Oh,
See bottom right. What a dickhead. I
I
was.
kind of love it, but I'm so disappointed how not clear at all it is.
And then when planking became a thing, that's not me, obviously.
That
That's planking became a thing. This
Why was planking a thing?
yeah.
Can either of you explain this to me? Because I'm still mystified.
I wasn't
by it.
aware of this. Can I just say I wasn't aware of this?
You wasn't aware of planking.
Like planking how he just showed on that bike, and I wasn't aware of this.
Like
Wait,
as
is
in,
this the story arc where Hamish pretends he was cool?
No. I definitely wasn't, and I definitely didn't try to be. I hate schools. There's no way.
but like the planking like phenomenon didn't circulate in your area.
I refuse to believe it.
I don't remember anyone. I lost some people.
2009, 2010, maybe around that time.
Let me drop a message to my boys. Hold on.
What are you gonna ask them? Like,
1 sec.
What
you
is
remember
planking?
because planking is like an exercise. You know, man like me's been trying to get a six pack recently.
When you say planking, do
So-
you mean like how you were like on that bicycle thing?
You're just laying in weird places and saying, "I'm planking."
Yeah, like on your belly.
So see, I didn't realize that was a condition.
I think he did have to be like face down kind of
It
thing.
makes sense.
Yeah. Because the actual planking is a lot harder. Because I can't imagine that becoming like
Yeah, that's not
thing
going
to
to become
do.
a fad.
That just means you need to get on it now, Hamish. You need to make up
No,
for
I'm
missed
not
time.
touching
Bring it
anything
back.
public like that.
Especially during COVID, you're just laying across all these public things.
Yeah. I see people like here, like, you know, like outside the shop, they're sitting on it, like, and like they're all touching it, like it's like they're leaning over, like just, you know, messing about as like a group of friends. I'm like, fam, I hope you all get COVID and I hope you all get fucked. Then you're making my life more miserable by making me.
Damn.
I have to be at home whilst you fuck about and bring up that, you know, infection ratio whilst I'm stuck here.
Just for sitting on a bench.
Yeah, there needs to be some form of karma, you know. You gotta suffer the consequences.
Are you saying that COVID is karmic retribution?
No. Hold on. Don't do this, Joe. One sec. I meant like, you know, actions have consequences.
I'm getting ready to tweet this out, Hamish. Be careful.
One of all the things to be cancelled by, not this one.
I know, but Hamish, what if it makes us go viral?
Yeah, but it will be at my expense.
But would it be worth it?
I'm not a rich you like you, Aaron.
And then
I need my job.
And then a Hamish gets kicked out as he's cancelled, and I become co-host.
Oh, the scenes.
It's the dream.
Yeah, you best believe I'm invoking every contract that I have.
Oh man. Okay, Hamish, you can transition now. What are you eating?
I'm eating a melon.
Healthy.
This is fine. We can take a little tangent so I can get some nicotine in my system.
Okay, quick, let me just eat the last piece then.
Are you quitting smoking or have quit smoking?
Yeah, it's been about a year since I last had a cigarette.
You have nicotine in the thing though.
Yeah, so it's
Do you want to talk about that?
I'm happy to. You want to make it official?
Should we do smoking or billionaire question?
How do you get into this though? From what we were just chatting about.
We'll go to the billionaire one. We'll come back to it somehow. We'll say like billionaires a smoker at some point. You know,
billionaires love cigars. Speaking of smoking,
okay, I'll say. So we'll come back to that. Remember that one. So as a research assistant, you're obviously trying to get some research ahead of an appeal. You're trying to become a millionaire, most likely, or so. Trying to make the company rich. So this brings us on to our debate question. Is it immoral to be a billionaire? Now, I wanted to ask a question to Aaron here because the question's a bit ambiguous. Does this mean a billionaire in worth or actually having cash, $1 billion?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I think depending on the answer's clear, right? If you're just sitting on $1 billion cash, then you're A, a terrible money manager, and B, a terrible person.
Whereas if it's in shares, like there's not much you can really do about it until you get paid dividends. So
even then,
are we taking it like cash, Aaron? What do we think?
Well, what's the most simple one?
Cash would be the most answer where we all say it's immoral. Most likely.
Yeah. At least with like net worth, then there's some debate, I think.
Because what you meant to do, share your sales stock and then put it all into charity.
I don't know. You choose. I didn't even know this was your debate question, I think, Hamish. So
no, immoral? I wouldn't have used that word.
Did I?
Now we'll just go down both tangents of it, right? So because we'll start with the first one. If you had $1 billion in cash, I'll say like, surely you could make some serious change in the world and give it to causes. You don't have to give away all of it. No one's saying to do that, but you have some serious capital sitting in your account. You realize how many commas that is? That's 3 commas. 1 billion.
My main flaw with this question is that it's a blanket statement.
What do you mean?
Like,
you made the question.
I think I found it on Oxford Union's like debate series or whatever. I think it's one of those ones. As in, like, it's basically saying every billionaire is immoral, right?
Well, in this case, if they had $1 billion in cash minimum in their account, that would be a billionaire. We're not saying their full net worth with all the shares and whatever else they have.
What is immoral? Like, what define immoral? What does it mean to be immoral?
Maybe like, I don't know if immoral is the correct word, but I feel like if you have that much capital, what can you even spend on? That makes a difference to you.
Would selfish be a more accurate term than immoral?
Yeah, I guess.
I suppose though, immoral ties into then morality, right? Moralities of your community or like the society you exist in. So then it just depends on what you was raised with, whether something is moral or immoral. We can go with selfish instead.
Well, to be honest, that was just one of my arguments to like be on the opposite side of the argument. Is immoral the right term?
I mean, if that's the way that billionaire, but if that's the way you get to the other side of the argument, then you're clearly already on the opposite side to the side you're pretending to be on.
Is it more about the actions, or is it immoral that society we are able to have billionaires rather than the billionaire actually being immoral? I don't know if that makes sense.
There's an interesting point. How would you? Is there a way you can restrict someone becoming a billionaire? I suppose you can tax them out the ass, but
if you restrict them from like achieving like that much level of financial freedom, then surely that's immoral for everyone else as well.
But then the morality clause is around self-regulation to ensure that you are spending and using your money in a socially beneficial way, rather than just saying there's a hard cap, we shouldn't have billionaires. It's more so people who are in a fortunate enough position to have such vast wealth should have the almost social awareness that they can make change with that.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree with that. If there's any billionaires listening to the podcast, contribute more.
They should sponsor the third wheel.
Maybe give us some money. Well,
okay, not just you guys. I want to be in on this.
Yeah. You as well, Joe.
That's not what your contract is, Joe.
That's fine. We'll rewrite. The billionaire will make you rewrite it.
More so, we are judging a person based on the money in their bank account. Say you met someone, like random person, you don't know their like financial status, and you could like get on with them, think they're cool, and then suddenly then the person next to you might be like, oh, he's a billionaire. Now suddenly do you be like, okay, this guy's, I don't like this guy or person, whoever.
But then if you're getting along with them and they seem surface level decent, then I think that's a point at which you can probe deeper as to sort of like, how have they gotten their billions? What are they doing with their billions?
And then so you can then determine that they might not be immoral.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I guess
so. So the question...
I guess there's not a blanket billionaire equals immorality. But I think the question comes from the fact that if you are at a point in your life where you have billions at your disposal, you can be doing more.
Yeah, for sure.
But then I guess it depends how you came across your billions, right? If you're some trust fund kid from establishing railways across the world, then you're probably damn sight more than $1 billion already.
Also, I don't know how it all works. Like, is it possible to become a billionaire morally? Like, is that even possible?
Yes.
Or is that realistic?
If the third wheel became if the third wheel somehow became like super invested, like blew up major, and our shares became worth like literally $1 billion. So like basically, actually, we'll say it's 2 billion, so it's $1 billion each year because it's half off. Nice. Then that would make us billionaires, but we wouldn't have the capital until we get like the dividend payouts or something. Yeah, but we wouldn't get $1 billion payout, just so you know. But
you wouldn't have gotten that morally because you've exploited the effort of your friends to get there.
Yeah, true say.
Well, no, I say yes purely because I think there are situations where inheritance kicks in, right? And I, as an individual, have not done anything, but now suddenly I'm worth $1 billion. I'm using that as an example. I'm not $1 billion.
Yeah, but one of the things is though, like, I would want my kids to, in that situation, to be the ones that inherited $1 billion. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, like every parent would probably want that for the kid. But then also, we also hate the people that got that scenario, even though we're trying to accomplish that.
I think, but you sort of see the immorality of billionaires. So is like Amazon recently, I think it's in Alabama, there's unionizing talk within Amazon. And they are running a tooth and nail campaign just to shut them down.
Right.
Because unions are the enemy, right? Two big corporations, because what it means is fair workers' rights and decent pay.
Yeah. What about, if you take an example, like an actual person, like maybe he's done like loads of shit I just don't know about, like Bill Gates. He's a billionaire, right?
Yeah, but Aaron, he's microchipping all of us.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, but Aaron, I don't think he has a lot of it in cash anyways. Like obviously he has a good amount.
This is the distinction, right? Is it cash rich or is it net worth rich?
The cash that he does have, he does give a bunch of it away as well. Like
you'd call him a billionaire though.
Yeah, you definitely would.
Oh yeah.
But that's why we have to clarify when we say, because you can't just give away shares to a charity. That it doesn't work. It's not as
like the issue with net worth is it's all tied up in illiquid entities. Right? You can't just spend.
Yeah, can you explain this like whole difference between these two things?
Okay, so basically, say your worth is only judged on your bank account. Yeah, that your worth is solely what is in your bank account. Yeah, say you're £10, that's your worth by that logic. But when you say we own 50% of the third wheel each, Aaron. Say tomorrow, say right now the company's worth 0, yeah? But say tomorrow it's worth $1 million. That makes both of us our worth. We would add 500,000 on because we own these assets. So we own half the company, right? So we just added $500,000 to both our thing. And then anything else you own basically adds to it. Usually something that it can appreciate and depreciate. So stuff like clothes usually doesn't matter. If you sold that at that exact moment in time, you'd be able to be a millionaire.
But then we could sell a percentage of it, right? And get like a bit of money from that.
Yeah, you could sell your shares, right? You could sell your stake in the company
and like give it to charity or something, couldn't we?
Yeah, but like we'll still get paid out, like because we own the shares, so we get entitled to a certain amount of profits per year. So we'll get like a split percentage of those profits, anyways.
But where's the like difference? I'm just trying to get to like why is it different?
Because one is
it just it's harder to do it? Like
cash is liquid, cash is readily available.
Yeah.
Stocks, you need to jump through some hoops to make them liquid. And it's a deficit to yourself, right? If you sell off 10% of your million stake, then you cut that out of your net worth forever if you then give that money away.
Yeah, and it could still go down to 0. Like that's not like a solid number for you. That number is only there, but you can't just pull it out the bank, Aaron, essentially.
Although what you'll find with Uber, like high net worth individuals, is it's very easy for them to get loans based on their holdings. So essentially they can collateralize their stocks and shares and get a ridiculous sum of money to buy a house or to do something. And then inevitably they're going to, at one point in the future, have that cash liquid through other means and can repay that loan.
Hamish, what's your answer to the question?
If you have that much cash, you should be trying to give it away and do better with the cause. Like you see in people like Akon, even Bill Gates and Melinda Gates try to do some good with it. I don't know an example who doesn't do good with it. I think an example. So I was going to bring this. I don't know how this relates, but you know Dan Bilzerian. Recently, it came out that he's not actually like the money that he's been spending is basically investor money in his company, but there's no profits in his company or anything. So basically, he's in just a lot of debt. He's not a full-on millionaire because it's just investor money.
Which company is that?
I have no idea. I just read up a bit about it and I couldn't bother reading the rest. So
that's how. Just a quick side note. That's how Uber's running, right? Uber doesn't make a profit. Uber just gets funding via like venture capitalists. And the end goal for Uber, food delivery apps and things like that is to strong arm everyone else out of the market until they're like the sole representative of that market. And then they can hike up prices and make a profit.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I swear Uber was supposed to like stop operating in London like a few years ago. Is that still on appeal or something?
I don't know if it was the UK, but I think now Uber drivers have like employee rights.
Right.
Because it's sort of the whole gig economy thing, right? Where people are picking up side hustles and stuff like that, like drive for Uber. They weren't considered employees and sort of just on the hook for whatever happened.
Yeah. Yeah, back on his question, do you think there's a point where, like, because we're dealing with like money, it's like a number. So do you think there's like a number or like a point where like it becomes a bit blurred? Like, okay, if you go over this amount or this thing, then it's immoral.
I think it depends on means, right? If I lived in a shack in the woods, my point of wealth hoarding would be a lot lower than someone that is living extravagantly. But then that also calls in, should people be living extravagantly as a side question? But that's probably a question for another day. Yeah, I don't think there's a number per se at which you're just like, okay, you are now officially a terrible person.
Yeah.
But I think once you're beyond the point of living comfortably, charitableness is not necessarily an obligation, but it's something that you should consider.
Yeah, and obviously after you like used your common sense and made sure you're like the future generations maybe are better off, etc. There's gonna be spare.
then what's comfortable? Because is that different for everyone as well? And is it like, do you account for like future generations?
Basically,
in
what
that
I would say,
comfortable thing?
what I would say is that you can ensure that your kids can go to like pretty much all stages of school throughout their life, and the best education, the most expensive one like possible. Obviously, account for some inflation, interest, all that stuff, and then you'll have a lot left over anyways. Like, and I'm sure you're probably still making enough at this point that it won't matter. So the rest is basically expendable to charitable causes. That's the way it is. Because I'd want my kids, obviously, to start off decent in life, go to the best education, private education, all that stuff. And then after that, like all the P's that are left afterwards, they'll have to make it themselves, and the rest is going to charity. That's where I stand on it.
Okay, so like setting your kids up for the future, great. Completely vibe with it, love it. But this is probably like a separate debate topic.
Yeah, no, carry on.
Sending them to like private schools necessarily, I'm not that into the whole private school thing and making sure that they get the best of the best. But then that might just be my upbringing, right? I never went private.
Oh, neither did I.
Like,
trust me.
Yeah.
Neither did I as well. My silence doesn't mean I did.
Yeah.
I didn't either.
Aaron might get away with lying and saying he went private, but
he looks like one.
Just clear cut.
What's that even mean? If I
it's
look
a
like
compliment. It means you're more put together than we are.
Does that mean I'm like good looking?
No,
okay, let's not go too far.
I'm gonna say
thinks money makes you look good. Yeah, we heard it here first on the third wheel.
Actually, no, you're the one who kind of makes that argument, if anyone.
I have heard you say that maybe 3 times already, Hamish.
Did I say that?
Well, not like that bare bones, but you know, the gist of
Hamish's argument is more the lack of money gives him less attractiveness.
Which is why he's going to be a billionaire and sit on his golden coins like a dragon.
No, we have had that private school debate before. Me and Hamish actually disagree on it. I think like I was kind of same as you, Joe. I was basically the same as you. Yeah,
my logic was the opposite, because instead of like the education I got, I would want them to get way better education so that they stand a better chance at uni, for example, if they go uni, that is. Because if I'm considered the top of my school that I went to, and I was basically one of the most, like, arguably academically the most behind at uni, then that is not something that is in a good space to be at, especially in first year when you're trying to settle in.
I don't think you were one of the most behind.
I don't think you was either.
Mate, in first year I was like basically flopping it.
I think you thought that, but I don't think you were.
I wasn't if you consider coursework. Exams, was those memory tests are beyond me. But like basically you could see in my exam performance and my general first year performance that, mate, I was trying to like, I didn't know how to ask for help yet. So I was just there like, I was literally suffering. Then I met Baxter, and then obviously things became easier because he could explain things, when needed. I helped him as well. But people always think Baxter, it was only Baxter helping me.
You made him cooler. He made you smarter.
Was I a cool kid at uni?
You like to think so.
He'll take that.
Exactly. But yeah, like, like had its perks, like it went both ways, because I was more like, I was trying to start work earlier. He would just start it late and still get 80. Little shit.
I was terrible on deadlines and things. I think like I really fell into I knew what I wanted going to uni. I was like, I want a 2-1. And all of my, before university or like exam seasons, I would sit down, make a spreadsheet, be like, what do I need for a 2-1? Excellent. This is what I'm going to target. I need 60% in this exam, so I'll look at 80% of the content, and that should get me a 6.
Mad, because I had to give my spreadsheet to one of our friends here that I used. I had 2 different ones, obviously one for the first 3 years and one for my master's. So I was like, this is a madness.
Do you think that though, because I never did that stuff. I think I might have actually asked you about it, Hamish, towards the end of uni, because I was getting like worried. But like, did that kind of mentality help with the exams rather than just going into it being like, okay, I'm just going to do my best?
I was aiming for a first in my 4th year, because 4th year it was possible for me to get a first, but it obviously didn't end very well because we had some fuck modules. I don't know what I expected, but I think it, like, for me, because I had learned from obviously the previous 2-3 years, right? So like in 3rd year, I had obviously learned my lessons from the first 2. So I knew how to like start targeting things and working the uni system a little bit better, but it still wasn't good enough. So in 4th year, I knew I had to pick every coursework oriented module. It didn't matter if I liked it or not. It had to be every coursework oriented module, because if I'm to stand a chance of getting a first, sadly I didn't, because of my dissertation. But like, yeah, I think it like helps a lot, like in terms of trying to plan, because you can see like, it also makes you feel less bad, but like obviously you're aiming to do as good as possible so you can do as shit as possible in the next exam. like ideally you wanted that to happen as well. So like that's the kind of target I went into. And if you did better in one exam than what you thought, that's good on your sheet. Yeah. If you did worse in one exam, but then you try to balance it out. And I knew I had to focus the least memory test kind of modules, if that makes sense, in the exams. So I had to try and do good in those ones. And then the memory test ones after was just good luck, because I don't play at that game. I need something like functional, essentially.
That's fair. Did you guys do that little game though? Whenever there was a exam coming up, where you'd look at all the past papers available, you'd see sort of if there were 5 categories on the exam, you'd look at what the categories were in each of the years.
Yeah, scrap a category.
There's 100% chance that this one's coming up. There's 100% chance this is coming up, and then you just revise those. You're like, okay, brilliant, I've got it. I've cracked the case.
I remember like because we usually have to answer like 4 out of 5 or 4 out of 6 questions. Scrap off the 2 topics. Yeah, you are usually safe to do it. Apart from the lecturers who mix and match topics. Yeah, that was stress because that requires 6. That's like 6. Questions worth of topic merged into 4. But half of your topic could be in a question that you know nothing else about. So you have to choose which one you take the hit on.
I do remember specifically like using the phrase a lot. No, that won't come up. That won't come up.
Yeah, that's Aaron's go-to phrase. I know.
Yeah, I don't know if I said it around you a lot, Hamish, but I remember saying it like.
No, you definitely did in 4th year. I remember 4th year, you just be like on random like topics. He just cuts out entire chapters. I remember you just cutting out chapters. You're like, no, it's not going to come up.
Yeah, that was probably based on the past exam. Like, or I'll just
then it came up in the exam, you little shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit, wait, this is a really quickly tangent, yeah. I've got a response from the boys. They said that, well, he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But Krishan was like, the planking meme, he said that's more American. It existed back then, but not in our school. Hedge said we definitely didn't do it.
Fair enough.
Shubham also said.
Oh, but they know where it is, though. It was in the UK.
He said it was later than year 8 to 10, but I may be wrong. I feel like it was more A-level time. Yeah.
Nah, if you were planking during A-levels, nah, that's weird.
That's the response I got. So take it as you may. We definitely didn't do it.
But they all seem to heard of it, though.
Yeah, honestly, it sounds like wherever you grew up is just a relic of the past.
Literally. It's funny because I still live there.
Okay, wherever you currently are is a relic of the past.
Yeah, I can't wait to make it into rich ends like Aaron.
This ain't even rich ends. It's just richer ends and Hamishes. That's all it is.
I don't know what. Me and Kay, we got really into daggers for a bit.
As in Dagenham Redbridge?
We're just saying Dagenham because it was just like, if something weird happened, we'd be like, oh, that's so daggers. And I've no idea why it started.
You got me excited there because Daggers is the nickname for Dagenham Redbridge Football Club that I used to go to quite a lot. And I was like, oh yeah, come on, you Daggers.
You're welcome.
For our debate question, yeah, I'm wearing the wrong jumper, like a baller's jumper. But,
Need I say more?
No, but this is actually, the thing is, I don't wear this out in public now because I bought it as it was. Actually, mate, this links in perfectly because this is a brand from a Dagenham and Redbridge football player, or used to play for Dagenham and Redbridge, Danny Green, who was like my favourite Dagenham and Redbridge football player at the time. I used to go watch him. So he started like a clothing brand called Ballers, which is why I bought the jumper.
Nice.
But I remember wearing it into uni once, and Hamish was like, I remember Hamish saying something like, it makes it just, he just thought it was to do with money rather than football.
Right, yeah.
And I was like, oh, fuck.
I mean, admittedly, yeah, I'd never think of that to be football. But you got that whole concept like balling, right?
Yeah, but it's more like,
straight balling.
Oh, Rashford's a baller, you know what I mean? Or Ronaldo's like that. It's more like that, but.
Is that like a substitute for footballer, or is it just saying they are money?
It's like a good.
The difference is, people would have subliminally thought that I just said it out loud because I didn't have that filter. So
no, but then you told me, and then I felt like now I don't wear it out in public. So I'm like,
he wants to be a secret. He wants to be a secret baller, innit?
I was just like, if people see me wearing this jumper, like that's a bit. I just seem a bit of a dickhead if they think that. You know what I mean?
That's fair though. I try and avoid looking like a dickhead if I can.
Yeah. Wise tip. Yeah, I don't know if I think we got somewhere on the question. I feel like it's a question that we probably like reworded a bit. Like if it's more like it's immoral to basically have unnecessary money, maybe. I don't know if that's a better
or not
way.
to do something more with what you just have.
Yeah, I suppose it's almost a moot point though, having that much wealth in cash, because I don't think anybody that is that rich would have that much in liquid cash, because they are fairly knowledgeable at that point in wealth and finance, so they're going to know that they should be investing their money and doing things with it.
Yeah, it must be quite stressful as well. So they probably smoke a decent chunk, you know.
Very true. Probably some cigars from those billionaires, eh?
Yeah, yeah. So I remember at uni, Joe, you used to be a bit of a smoker. I
Oh, I
think you
chained them. Loved it.
did. You used to do 2 at a time in each session.
In between lectures, I would.
Okay.
If we had like a double session, I'd like take 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Usually 10 minutes before the lecture was over, I'd be rolling. Obviously, I rolled. I was a uni student.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford pre-rolled, so I was like, all right, give me a 30-gram pouch, and I'm well away.
Do you get through like one cigarette that quickly? Is that
I think it was part of just the way I rolled as well. They were fairly thin.
right?
But maybe that's just my way of explaining it to myself as being not as severe an addiction as it actually was.
It's also based on like how much you try to inhale at once. So
Yeah, apparently I've got good lungs to my doctor, which is weird considering all the smoking.
Oh yeah, Hamish did say you have lungs of steel, didn't you?
no, I said
I
he
did.
has a liver.
Liver.
Of
Oh,
steel.
liver.
And
Well,
lungs.
okay.
Clearly,
Yeah,
yes.
add lungs to the list until I have to come back on and redact that statement with a diagnosis. Oh, I
Are you
wish.
human, Joe?
I wish. I'm one of those lizard people.
You know what I remember? Do you know Tom Fuchs? He used to have a tattoo of that puzzle piece coming out and everything was wires inside you. I thought that was actually a sick tattoo. I'm thinking that's actually Joe.
I can neither confirm or deny, or I'll be shut down.
We can see that you went from, I guess, rolling up to now using a vape, but it still has nicotine. So obviously it maybe take longer to transition off it.
Yeah, it's a
And
strange
that's about
one.
the experience, right?
Yeah, so it was probably about a year ago now that I did a quit attempt, basically. I think it was like, New Year's resolution. Let's do it. This is great. I love not smoking. It makes me so angry and annoyed. This is the best thing I've ever done. And then I think it was probably after company drinks one day. Because whenever I drink, nicotine is my best friend. Because you've got the upper and you've got the downer, and they go hand in hand, which is why whenever I drink, I always crave nicotine. I always have, probably always will, which is how I started smoking. But then this time last year, I'd stopped smoking and I was craving, and I thought, let's not get cigarettes. Let's go into this obscure vape shop on the road that's for some reason still open at 10 p.m. whilst I'm pretty blitzed out of my skull, and purchase a vape. So I did, and it was fine at the time. I was like, hey, yeah, got my nicotine fill. This is great. And it just sort of stuck for a bit. I think I briefly smoked cigarettes again in like March last year. And that was after the vape ran out of battery one night. And I was like, nah, this is never going to replace the real thing. Give me cigarettes. I love cigarettes. But yeah, no, managed to get back on when I was sobered up the next day. I was like, God, this is terrible. My breath stinks. It tastes awful. Let's just stick to the vape with all the nice fruity flavors. And yeah, it just kind of stuck. But I suppose the benefit of the vape is the strength of the liquid you're putting in varies, so you can taper your nicotine down. I think I started on 12 or 15 milligrams, and it probably means nothing to you, but I think that the generally accepted is if you get through, say, like a tank or a standard tank of 15 milligram liquid, that's like 15 cigarettes. I've no sources for this. It may anger people in being completely wrong, and I apologize if it is completely wrong. Yeah, since then over the last year, I've just tapered myself down to 6. You just see how it goes. I guess it's just almost a new frontier for smoking, in that I don't know if this is actually still really bad for me or not. Do I need to keep dialing it down or not?
I've known a couple of people that used it to bring it super down, like quite far down, and then some have stopped. Some are still, I guess, in the process, but it does help in terms of getting rid of the nicotine dosage you take in the day, I guess. So
I quite like nicotine.
yeah, I know. I don't know how to.
There are definite perks to nicotine, I'm afraid.
What are the perks of nicotine?
See, the way I always perceived it, and again, this could just not be a.
I say we're not promoting smoking. On this.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
We're not promoting nicotine in any way, shape, or form, and this could just
not until
be
we're sponsored.
Yeah, PMI sponsors the podcast. I think it's either it does do this or it's a placebo perceived thing. For me, it's almost a more focused state. If I like have nicotine, then I can focus more. But I think that focus is derived by the addiction to nicotine, in that when my body is without nicotine, it becomes less focused. And then I need nicotine to bring me back up to what would be the usual baseline. But like to get back to a normal, non-addicted level of focus, nicotine comes in.
And then vaping, is vaping more expensive?
No, I don't think so. Not from what I found.
You can even make it even more cheaper. So I have a friend who basically buys all the chemicals, including the nicotine, mixes it themselves and does it. And that way they can, it's way cheaper. And then also they can reduce nicotine.
Is there an ingredient list? Oh, it's really small. Okay, propylene, glycol, vegetable glycerin, nicotine.
But he buys all that?
Yeah, and then he mixes it himself because it's way cheaper than buying even the liquid. And then that way he can control the nicotine a lot more.
Can you imagine having that much faith in yourself?
Well, he's been doing it for months, so.
Yeah. I know that if I did that, I'd just accidentally kill myself. I just put too much of something in, and that'd be it.
He says the only thing that you could put too much of is the nicotine, and as long as you have your control with that, you're all good. And I do trust him to that extent, you know, because he seems to be like quite knowledgeable in it. He said the chemicals, I didn't understand the chemicals. They went out my mind right away. They literally evaporated, like vape. They vaped out.
Oh, wow. That was awful. Can I put a request to cut that in for him?
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, basically, yeah, you can just buy the chemicals and make it yourself, and then even further reduce the nicotine and make the cost even less.
Now, I was going to say, do all vapes have nicotine?
No.
Because you have like just some people that just want to think it's cool, right?
You could get it without nicotine, yeah.
Yeah, no, I've heard of some people that just...
Are they still bad for you, though?
To be social. See, I have no idea.
I don't know. I've seen conflicting articles, but I don't care enough for it to bother me. Like, I feel like cigarette smoke is a lot worse for everyone around. If they're vaping, like, who are they really harming much? Because it's not like the...
No. The worst thing vapors do is when they blow that flat, like the candy floss cloud whilst they're walking in front of you, and then you have to walk through it.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of that, so I do appreciate...
People.
Yeah. Hopefully people have learned the lesson after COVID as well. Like, they can't be doing that. But yeah, basically, you know, it's probably better for them to vape anyways, I think, but I'm not a scientist, so don't listen to me. But I'd rather walk past, like, you know, the air smelling a bit of vape than a bit of cigarette. And that may just be because it smells nicer, to be honest.
Yeah,
so.
no, it completely makes sense.
I know every time I walk past or like walk through like a cigarette smoker's like air of smoke, I'm always like, like breathing out. Like, I feel like I'm just, yeah. And I just hate, do you actually like the smell of it?
Of cigarettes?
Like cigarette smoke.
Oh, I love cigarettes.
At the beginning, did you like it? Or is it just get used to it? Yeah.
But yeah, you almost condition yourself into like, this is the stick that's going to make me happy. And yes, therefore, it's like a Pavlovian response to the smell. It's just endorphins.
Yeah. At uni, I think Joe here was one of the reasons I could put up with the smell a bit more, because he would obviously be sitting in DCS and would always smell the cigarette. Oh, so I learned to put up with it more. So bad. in a way that's good, if that makes sense. But I just remember, like, you were the reason I have a higher tolerance for it than I used to, because before I couldn't stand it.
So basically, I'm the reason you have a higher tolerance for, or you did have a higher tolerance for alcohol and smelling cigarettes.
Well, no, the alcohol was self-proclaimed.
Okay.
So that one.
Okay, apologies.
I don't know if you like briefly said there that it hasn't really made a difference, but since you have been going on to the vape, do you feel like any health benefits or anything?
Nah, nothing. It's just a different delivery mechanism, I guess. Maybe there are some health benefits that came back over time, but I can't say I've noticed any of them. I really don't think there's necessarily anything apart from sort of that black swan event of contracting a terrible like disease, or I don't know, is disease the right word?
Illness? I don't know.
Illness, yeah.
Yeah. I actually don't know. I don't know where it comes under.
So does this mean your relationship with cigarettes is now a long distance one?
Yeah, I like that. That's very good. It's very smooth. Hamish, the smooth operator, back in. I suppose so. Yeah, it would be.
So, one of the next topics, if people didn't clock the transition, is long distance relationships. Yeah, so you said we are going to speak about a little bit about it. Maybe I don't know if it's advice also for the current one.
Give you a bit of context. I've been in a long distance relationship now for the last. This is where it all goes horribly wrong. Just over 2 years now, with a wonderful lady called Melissa. She is based in Florida, just outside of Miami, a town called Miramar.
Nice.
And we met when I was traveling with family to Florida for a little vacay at Disney. And we matched on one of the dating apps whilst I was there. Kept in touch. We didn't meet at that point. Kept in touch when I came back to the UK. Was chatting, played some drinking games together over Skype. The first one we ever did was Shrek. We watched the movie and played the drinking game rules. It was very sweet.
What are the drinking game rules, Shrek?
Drinking game rules to Shrek. I think it's... Okay, I was right. Shrek farts or burps. Someone says ogre. Someone says swamp. Someone says steed.
Swamp,
the gingerbread man talks. And those are all one drink. 2 drinks for donkey singing. Shrek whooping someone's ass, which is really painful, that scene when they're in the castle. When they first get to Duloc, Shrek rocks up and there's that tournament going on to see who's going to save Fiona. Then Shrek gets involved and a lot of drinks come.
These are spoilers for Hamish because he hasn't seen
Oh,
Shrek.
Hamish. You should have warned me, buddy. I'm sorry.
No, I don't think I was going to watch it anytime soon anyways. Okay. I'm probably not going to remember much of it by the time I do.
Do you know, I think Shrek could turn out to be like Hamish's life.
What does that mean?
I like that. Well, let's not tell him.
Hold on. No
spoilers.
No. Hold on. I'm not
really
taking that
good.
violation.
That is really good.
You look like Shrek fan.
No, you could fit that in if you make like the swamp like ends. Yeah, that would work. You know. And look, you end up with a princess, mate. So that's.
Aren't they ogres?
A princess is a princess, Hamish.
Yeah, she's a princess ogre, but she didn't used to be. I mean, she didn't used to be an ogre. So like. It's like as if you met a girl who was like really fancy and all that, and then you converted her to ends. Do you know what I mean? it's like that. That's what
I'd rather her convert me to the bougie life.
That's good. I like that.
No, you tried to get into the bougie life, but
I'm not compatible.
Yeah, it didn't work out.
You know, I was gonna say what I've been watching a lot of recently was Harry Potter folklore. There's this channel, it just started recommending me, and I got caught. YouTube got me. It's called Harry Potter folklore. And it's just random like theories and, you know, things of the books that people didn't catch because I didn't obviously read the book. I only watched the movies. So it's just like all these theories, why this couldn't happen, why this happened, all this stuff. And I've been hooked every like lunch, dinner and breakfast. I've been just watching a bit of Harry Potter folklore. I spent hours on this channel. Yeah. It's got millions of views as well. So like,
I like that. You're justifying it. You're saying it's socially acceptable. A lot of people do it.
I'm properly hooked in, yeah. And then only like yesterday, I'm doing lunch breakfast, and then I started watching Fantastic Beasts. I need to still watch the second one. I'm finishing the first one.
But anyway, yeah, you should watch Shrek. But back to Melissa.
I circle back, back to Melissa. Watch Shrek together is like our first thing, and then it was the 9th of December, 2019, that we were still sort of distanced, hadn't really met up. It was like, we probably need to like, let's give this a go. Let's say that like, I'm interested in you, you're interested in me. Let's make something of this. And then the following year in March is when I went to Florida and we actually met in person for the first time. Occasional visits between, and then COVID hits, and it's been just over a year now, I believe, like a year and a month, I think, since we last saw each other.
Has COVID almost made it like, you know, you can't see each other anyway, like because of COVID?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know what the word to use. Like not like more normal, maybe normal. I don't know.
It's probably, I suppose, like just easier in general, right?
Yeah.
It's not that there's reasons we're it's not like we're making excuses not to see each other. It's just we physically cannot go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose to a point. Yeah, sort of in the knowledge that it's not. I suppose if there was no COVID going on and we hadn't seen each other for a year, would be sort of alarm bells ringing of, but why haven't we? Why haven't we done this? But because there's an easily justifiable reason that we can't physically see each other, then yeah, it's just one of those things that we have to deal with.
Yeah. That's mad though. Had him like met and then
I know.
how the meeting her for the first time, was that like, I don't know, nerve wracking, like nervous?
It was, but I had just gotten off an international flight and there was free drinks because
Okay.
international flight. So
I was gonna
I could quell my nerves somewhat. But I did make a point. Usually at international flights I can go a little bit, let's just go for it. But that one I was fairly measured. And I remember, I think first time we met or physically saw each other I was just like elevator doors opening into like a parking lot, and she was waiting for me, like just past the elevator doors. And
Well,
it was
this
just
is
sort of
like
this
a
moment, just
romantic
like,
film, It's like a rom-com.
what do we do?
the awkward moments captured on camera. The CCTV cameras.
Yes, some security guard was wondering what on earth is happening here.
Oh no, that's really. I thought that also sounds really cute. To be honest, to me.
Aaron's gonna hop back on the dating apps now.
Well, yeah, just asking for a friend. What dating app was it?
It was on Bumble.
On Bumble.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's definitely atypical, of course.
Hmm.
And I think the interesting bit for a lot of people I've spoken to is that we hadn't seen each other at the point we decided to be official. And
Yeah.
But then I think for both of us, it was really nice to get to know each other in what was essentially a low pressure environment before, because even before we decided to go official, it was always kind of like friendship first, given the distance. So the implication was this is just going to be a friendship.
Yeah.
Then as time went on, we both realized we had feelings for the other, and yeah, that's how it went.
I wish I had a soundboard right now so I could play like like the audience.
Yeah. No, that's wicked. How do you think? What would be your main or like top advice to like maintaining a long distance relationship?
I was like Essex and West London is quite far.
I think the most important thing I think it goes beyond long distance as well, is being comfortable enough to talk to each other about uncomfortable things. Like any sort of relationship longevity is predicated on honesty. So if I'm having a garbage week, I'm like, it would be nice to talk. Just having the ability to say that. Or when I've pissed her off by some stupid thing, the fact that she can just say, this is why I'm annoyed, and this is how we can, like, let's talk about this, is invaluable in any relationship. But then to bring it back to long distance specifically, the fact that we are able to make time for each other so often and frequently, if either of us are sort of tied up with things, we will try to wrap those up to be able to talk to each other and spend time with each other, even if it feels almost insignificant at the time, is important to just keep that going. Like watching trash on Netflix and pressing play at the same time is just really nice things to do. It's really enjoyable and it's what gets you through.
Yeah, I just checked the time difference. 5 hours ain't too bad either from UK to Florida.
And actually, the time difference is kind of favorable on my end in that I can get a solid chunk of work done in the morning, and then she'll wake up. So.
Yeah, I think we had a guest on like ages ago, Sid, and he's I want to say still in a long distance relationship. He was at the time, so I'm just gonna say he's in a long distance relationship with a girl from America as well. And I think he said he made the same point as well.
Yeah, so I suppose like the main thing with long distance as well is there needs to be a plan. I don't think either of the parties want to just accept that it's long distance forever. You need to sort of know where you're going and what's going to happen. But I think in my case, fortunately, Melissa plans to study in the UK next year, touch wood, hopefully, COVID allowing.
Yeah.
And then I suppose that's the next checkpoint for us, and then we see where it goes from there.
Yeah. No, that'd be good.
Hopefully.
Awesome.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, I don't know if you had any other like things you wanted to like talk about or start to wrap up.
Happy to wrap.
When will we next meet up, Joe?
Next meet up. Oh, I don't know, but make sure. Well, Aaron's got to have his eye and liver in place, and he.
Wait, I've got what?
You've got to make sure you've got your liver prepared.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because we'll go hard.
I'm sober, so I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. You're golden.
As long as there's actual good music.
I mean, well, we just whip out we'll sit in a park with some cans, and you can have your phone and some headphones. It's perfect.
Headphones, so it's just Hamish listening to it.
Yeah. I thought ahead.
That would make sense, you know. Have you ever thought of like going to, if you came to pop with like earphones?
Wouldn't it be like super
like
hard?
a silent disco kind of thing?
I was going to say, this is the whole silent disco thing. Would you guys go to a silent disco?
No.
I want to go to silent, like I just want to see what it's like. I think it would be weird.
I'm awkward enough and I'd rather not do that. I'd rather be singing along at the same time.
No, but you would be. But just
to the same song.
You still could sing.
No, not to the same song. I mean, you can. Like if you sync it up and all that.
Man, why would you do that? Man? What's the point in that? That's a waste of money. You could do that at home. You could do that at home for free.
Yeah, but you can dance at home for free. Yeah. So why go to a club?
I never said anything about going to a club anyways, but I'm just saying by that logic.
Fair. But no, like silent disco would be great. Because you've seen the ones where they've got like different channels and things.
I've heard about them, yeah.
But the issue would be, I'd probably look around and be like, wait, these people are dancing to a different beat than I, and now I feel stupid. So I'm just going to stand in this corner and wait.
I'll be so tempted to just be like, take off my headphones and be like, yeah, this is weird. Just
that's the thing, though.
Watch people dance without any music.
But you'd imagine it to be silent, right? But you'd probably hear like the scuffing of shoes on the floor. If there's booze involved, there'd just be people belting whatever they're listening to.
Yeah.
And then you've got this terrible kind of round going where everyone's singing different songs from different channels.
Yeah. Do you know when those moments occur when you hype people up and you go like, A, and then you're like, how does that go then? Like, is one person Aing at something else in the same circle as someone else? Like
the one with the channels that Joe mentioned. Like if you're in a large group, you are going to have like there would be some of you on the same thing
wavelength.
Yeah.
Hey, surely that would be like if I was to go to one of those in a group, which I don't know why I'd ever go solo. So of course I'm going in a group.
Yeah.
It would be almost like you're mandated. You're on channel 3 and you do not diverge unless we all agree.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Hamish, this is just a good solution to a problem that you could face.
Yeah, no, but I'm hoping that will never happen. That's why I go in concerts because it's just easy. But obviously, soon come the day for that.
Yeah, hopefully soon. Yeah, moving on to so how we end the episode. Joe is like, we have some final questions, a call out, and a shout out. So we start off with the final questions, and the first one is, what is on your bucket list?
Yeah, I regret this already. I did not think what's on my bucket list, guys. I'll be honest.
Skydiving.
Skydiving would be awful. Are you kidding me? But throw yourself at the ground and hope this bit of thin fabric catches you. No, thank you.
Mad.
That's what I like tell people. Then I was like, okay, fair enough. If you want to just jump off and kill yourself,
is live a long and happy life bucket list material, or does bucket list need to be spontaneous and wild?
Honestly, I don't know.
I don't know how to. I'm not sure if it is, but you know what? We'll take it.
Yeah, we'll take it. A long and meaningful life.
Thanks, guys.
And happy. Obviously.
Appreciate
it. The second question is, what is your favorite emoji?
Oh, well, so it's technically 3 emojis in one.
That's fine.
So like you got like the hands going to the side.
Yeah.
As just like pointing.
Just like just to the side, pointing to the side. Okay. Imagine I'm wearing sunglasses right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's that. Finger to the side. Sunglasses, so dude. Finger to the side. Yeah. And that's it. It's the best thing. It brings me so much joy to send. Everyone hates it. They're like, Joe, why are you doing this overused joke again and again?
Why? What does it mean? Like, what's it?
It's just like some dude with shades giving the finger guns. Like, hey.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It means a lot to me.
I'm gonna type it in my thing now and see. I just want to see what it looks like.
Yeah, please do.
Oh, it goes both ways as well.
It goes both ways. Yeah. It's perfection. Yeah, there he goes.
I guess there's no one that points at himself, is it? Like some egotistical one.
I mean, you can also point outwards if you really want. If you're feeling particularly crazy.
Yeah. yeah, that'd be cool. Awesome. Third and final question. So this is a question we ask every guest, and that is, what has been your most memorable third wheeling experience?
I also have another question to your question. Can I do fifth wheeling?
Yeah, fifth wheeling, seventh wheeling.
So it would be the vacation Disney when I started chatting to Melissa. My parents, my brother, and my brother's girlfriend were there. I was the fifth wheel. So I was resorting to dating apps in the lines to rides, and that's how I met Melissa.
Yeah, that's a good story to. Yeah, that's a good story.
You can say you technically met at Disneyland by that logic.
Technically, yeah. Thank Christ.
Technicalities.
The second last bit is a call out / nomination. So you can call out or nominate as many people as you want to hopefully be a guest on the third wheel in the future.
I'm going to pick my favourite first year drinking friend, Joshua Bond.
Well, Joshua Bond, that's his second call out. So, yeah, we'll send a message and see if we can get him on.
Time to harass him.
Last bit, shout out. So basically anything you just want to give a shout out to, give a plug, can be literally anything. Now's the time. So yeah, do you have anything?
I'd like to give a very personal shout out to the Third Wheel. Great hosts, wonderful people. Check them out if you haven't already.
Is that the first shout out we had? Might be the first official shout out we've had.
You don't need to pay me for it. It's I have nothing to shout out.
Oh, cool.
Third Wheel got it.
Do you know what? I'm going to shout out the Third Wheel as well because I also have nothing to shout out.
And you can shout out Twitch. You can shout out Yash's book.
Oh, let's do Yash's book. Yeah. Yash's book.
I was going to say Yash's book, Twitch. I think I'm going to stream right after this podcast ends right now. What else is done? Then some of my music. There's like a new album by LD called Who's Watching, and one by Jamo called Rude Boy. So go listen to that if you don't. I was going to list a bunch more, but I think those two will do for this episode.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Joe, for coming on.
And that's catching up.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Hope everyone else has enjoyed it, and we'll just speak to you next week.
Have a good day, everyone.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
The studio is my second home. That's why I have it in my bedroom. I really do this all on my own. A shark quarry and my brother home. He was here from the day one. And not gonna lie, he's a real one. In my team there are no fake ones. It's a fake love, no I don't want. I can't lie.